What did the inhabitants of the past really want to tell us? In fact, many an ancient testimony is suspected of bearing a historical truth that completely turns our previous view of history upside down. But could it really be that even the people of the Stone Age had astronomical knowledge that was in no way inferior to our own? What messages have the creators of the Moai statues left for us? And above all, does an artifact really lie dormant in Brazil that testifies to ancient contact with extraterrestrials? Older Göbekli Tepe. In Anatolia, located in the southeast of present-day Turkey, this mysterious site is home to nothing less than the oldest known large buildings in existence. According to current knowledge, the site has been in use for at least 11,000 years, and it is indeed true that the hunters and gatherers built what is probably the first temple in human history here. Consequently, there is no question in the minds of experts that Göbekli Tepe marked a drastic turning point. But in the same breath, the ancient stone structures also embody a tantalizing historical mystery. Why did our nomadic ancestors, who had never even built permanent structures before, suddenly decide to create a colossal palace of worship around 9000 BC? This is joined by the question of how Stone Age people, with the simplest means of their time, managed to erect around 200 limestone columns, each weighing up to 50 tons and measuring over 4 meters in height. Aside from these massive dimensions, many a Göbekli Tepe mystery also lies dormant in the details. After all, the creators also decided to decorate their steles with countless enigmatic reliefs. The motifs include gazelles, foxes, and wild boar, as well as snakes and spiders, and not least, a strange vulture, which adorns Pillar 43 along with other animals and symbols. What the vulture stone is really all about has been hotly debated since time immemorial. Although, since time immemorial is relative, since Göbekli Tepe was not actually identified as a Stone Age site until 1963. But did the builders of that time simply want to depict their animal environment, or could the vulture stone possibly convey much more significant information? Well, a new research study has now come to a remarkable conclusion in this regard. We may actually be dealing with the oldest known calendar in the world. Apart from the feathered creature, the column also contains numerous V-shaped symbols, and the experts suggest that each V could represent a single day, adding up to a calendar of 365 days when all the carvings are added together. This interpretation therefore assumes that the inhabitants of Göbekli Tepe were able to keep track of the solar year and mark the changing seasons. But that's not all. The experts also discovered that the carvings apparently also contain lunar cycles, so that the Stone Age calendar ultimately combined the phases of the moon with the position of the sun. And just to be clear, until now, scientists assumed that the so-called lunisolar calendars did not arise until several millennia later. And apparently, the summer solstice day was also highlighted as a very special date on the Göbekli Tepe calendar. According to the researchers, this is emphasized by a V-shaped symbol located on the neck of a bird-like figure. Furthermore, the elaboration of the vulture stone indicates that the inhabitants of the site had sophisticated astronomical knowledge and were even aware of precession, the gradual wobble of the Earth's axis that affects the movement of constellations in the sky. What's more, one column even appears to depict the Taurids, a meteor shower that is thought to have been the source of the comet fragments that hit the Earth for 27 days. And so it seems that the inhabitants of Göbekli Tepe not only knew about the dangers of comet debris, but probably also tried to document such events and perhaps even predict them. And indeed, in view of the carvings, it is also conceivable that the comet shower paved the way for a new cult or religion that focused on this celestial phenomenon. This spiritual change could have played a crucial role in the development of early civilization and significantly influenced the social and agricultural practices of the period that followed. The document that we will probably never understand. Everyone is unique in their own way, but what is still a sign of individuality for us is sometimes a gigantic problem in the case of artifact finds. Since no corresponding counterpart has been found so far, we have no idea what information the mysterious Phos Disc really contains. The only thing that is certain is that the disc is made of baked clay and was discovered in Crete in 1908, and that, in addition to human, animal, and object motifs, it is also peppered with significantly more abstract motifs, which are a complete mystery to researchers. In fact, not much is known about the Phos disc except for the fact that it exists. We don't know when, how, or by whom it was made. Some even question the authenticity of the artifact, not to mention the debate about the correct decipherment. In detail, the object comprises just 241 characters, and as already mentioned, these are also unique and not related to any other writing system known to us. And unfortunately, the saying, "the proof of the pudding is in the eating," is no longer applicable in this case. Even if you simply try and adapt the scheme to known writing systems, there are an undecillion possible assignments. That's a 1 followed by 69 zeros. The unknown messages of the Moai creators. Easter Island is best known for its colossal Moai statues, and yet these massive monuments are by no means the only mystery that the Rapa Nui have left for posterity. While the creation and original purpose of the Moai are still surrounded by huge question marks, the culture of their creators also had its very own writing system called Runguro Ongo, which, from today's perspectives, seems no less confusing. In fact, it is the only writing system to have been developed in Oceania, and, due to its completely isolated origin, it is not comparable to any other typeface. And so it is that the 27 Rungurungo writing tablets have also embodied the great unknown since their discovery in 1864. Radiocarbon dating of the 4 tablets kept in Rome showed that one of them dates from around 1500, which means that it was made over 200 years before the first Dutch arrival on Easter Island, and thus was created free of European influence. In other words, Rungurungang is probably one of the few independent inventions of writing in the history of mankind. Furthermore, the analyzed tablet is also made of a type of wood from the family of stone seeds that is not native in Easter Island. In fact, the plants typically grow in southeastern Africa. But, according to the experts, the artifact does not prove any intercontinental contact between peoples. Instead, it is more likely that it was driftwood that was washed up on the island, which had little forest cover and was intensively processed anyway. A message from aliens? What is commonly known as the Stone of Inga is in fact nothing less than one of the most mysterious rocks in the world. And of course, this is not because of any extraordinary type of rock, but because of the inexplicable figures that catch our eye on this huge rock formation. Located near the city of Inga in the Brazilian state of Paraíba, someone at some point immortalized countless motifs on a 46-meter-long rock face for posterity, the true meaning of which still remains a mystery. Due to the fact that we cannot narrow down the time of origin and the creators of the petroglyphs, the experts have to delve into the field of theories and speculations. And it is suspected that the rock carvings show us not only animals, fruits, and people, but also astronomical structures such as Orion or the Milky Way. On the other hand, however, there is the approach that we are dealing here rather with ancient runes or short religious texts, and, amazingly, the symbols of the Inga stone are actually reminiscent not only of those of the Phoenicians, but also of the Demotic writings of the ancient Egyptians. Other researchers, on the other hand, draw a comparison with the artworks of the Rapa Nui, but it gets even more dramatic. Because in addition to this hypothesis that the symbols are upside down and were intentionally encrypted, there is also the idea that the unknown creators wanted to express an urgent warning of an impending or just survived global catastrophe. Well, and then there is also the alien theory. Some alternative researchers, such as Claudio Quintans of the Parabano Center for Ufology, actually believe that aliens once landed in this area and left the symbols in the rock themselves. Compared to that, the thesis that the signs actually represent mathematical formulas for determining the distance of celestial bodies also sounds exciting, but not quite as outlandish. The Maya script heritage. Do you know how many pre-Columbian Maya scripts have been preserved? Well, the sobering answer is just 4. And in fact, one of them, known as the Codex Grolier, was thought to be a modern forgery for decades. But who can blame the skeptics? After all, to put it mildly, the circumstances surrounding the discovery of this irreplaceable testimony are sketchy. Basically, however, it is assumed that the codex came to light in 1965 during an illegal excavation in a cave in Chiapas, Mexico. It is said that the document then came into the possession of a Mayan art collector named Jose Sáenz. And indeed, he was given permission to exhibit it at the elite New York Grolier Club, which ultimately gave the find its official name. However, since the style used here differs significantly from the 3 already known Mayan scripts, doubts about the authenticity of the Codex Grolier soon arose. And this did not change even after later radiocarbon dating showed that the typical bark-based paper actually dates from pre-Hispanic times, because after all, clever forgers could simply have painted on it afterwards. But now the pendulum seems to have finally swung in favor of genuine, and the initial doubts began to crumble in the wake of recent iconographic and material analyses. Accordingly, the conviction has now been established that the codex was created between the years 1000 and 1150 AD and comes from the Tabasco lowlands. In terms of content, the writing is again concerned with astrological prophecies derived from the orbit of Venus, and yet this is only half the story. While researchers assume that the Codex Grolier originally comprised 20 pages, today it only has 11, and we have no idea what knowledge disappeared into the shadows of the past along with the lost pages. And before our video disappears in the shadows of the credits, please feel free to quickly press the like and the Abu buttons so you never miss a new post from us again. See you soon!